watch the news, look at the things that are going on in the earth. So, most I wouldn't everyone is familiar with these wars that are occurring, the acts that are being taken out all around the earth, daily. The plans and the plots of the government that they are putting upon the world, even recently, how the soldiers in the US have been killed, and they were all our people, man. All three of them that got killed, those are our people. So I hope everyone is watching and seeing how these things are beginning to transpire, right? And as a result of those deaths, there's been a reaction from America in which now they've gone and tried to retaliate because Joe Biden put out that no one is meant to be touching any American soldiers, and now this is a big event right now. So most I wouldn't everyone is watching through the Spirit so that we can be prepared as much as possible for the things that are happening upon the earth, and not to be ignorant of any things that are happening, right? And in all things, and that's what we're going to go in today, how we shouldn't be ignorant in all aspects. We should be watching. Come on.
All right, so this is End Time Headlines, which is a good source for any sort of whatever's going on in the world that we should be watching, right? It says, Biden warns U.S. airstrikes are only the beginning. It says the U.S. military struck dozens of targets in the Middle East on Friday, responding with force after 3 U.S. soldiers were killed in a drone attack on a base in Jordan earlier this week. It says, according to U.S. Central Command, which coordinated the attacks, the airstrikes in Iraq and Syria targeted Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Quds Force, and affiliated militia groups. U.S. aircraft, including some long-range bombers flown from stateside bases, struck more than 85 targets, including what CENTCOM described as command and control operation centers, intelligence centers, rockets and missiles, unmanned aerial vehicle storages, and logistics and munition supply chain facilities.
So that was their retaliation. So, World War II kind of gave us an example of how America likes to show that they are the boss, because they're pretty much bullies of the world. They like to bully everyone into submission. But right now, it's like in the movies where, the person that's being bullied kind of just gains confidence and riles up each other to the point where now they're confident themselves and they don't feel like they're small anymore. And now, now Americans are small. Right before, they wouldn't have been doing these things. They would have been stripped. But now, right, these other nations, they don't care about anyone else, but themselves being together and being released from Babylon, for real. So let's be watching these things that are coming to pass. You have a plan?
Yeah, can't. I'm going to go to the book of Ezekiel 3 and 17. Because it's if you're not really watching, like Brother Zion was saying, now you're late for salvation, right? If you're not watching, you're gonna miss out on what you should be, aware of, and you're not gonna know what to do in that time, right? So you got that.
It's Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 17. Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me.
Right, so obviously us being the Israelites, right, we've been made watchmen to watch for the house of Israel. We're not watching, okay, for the other nations. Okay, you see, Biden doing that and you're running to tell your Edomite friends, okay, look, this is happening. You got to wake up the Israelites, man, right? we got to be watchful and be watching and paying attention to the news, right? I can't.
Right, we have to give warning unto our people, man. That's what we have to do. Like, we have to warn everyone, like, the things that are coming to pass are nigh, man. And you know, they're happening in this earth. They're not happening on a movie, right, somewhere. They're actually happening for real. Let's also get Luke 21 verse 36. You can't be ignorant in anything. We're not commanded to be in ignorance. Commanded to be righteous. Commanded to be not oblivious, man. That would be foolish. Go on.
It's the book of Luke 21 and verse 36. Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man.
So if we want to stand before Yahweh, then we have to actually pray and be watching that we are accounted worthy to escape all these things. So it's telling you what you should be watching for. Watch for the things that are coming to pass that we want to escape. We do not want to be caught up in these wars, right? And be harmed by these things. We want to escape these things. We want to be hidden from the wrath of the Lord that is happening and will be continuously happening upon the earth. We want to escape that. Right?
No.
So we can't be ignorant of anything. And just as we should be watching, we need to firstly be watching ourselves, right? Let's go to 2 Corinthians 13 verse 5. We firstly have to be watching ourselves. And that's what we're going to go into, man. Because the diet that we should be having is the first way, or one of the first ways we ought to be watching ourselves. No point watching everyone else, trying to get onto this person, point a finger, do this and do that, and you're never really watching yourself. Go on.
It's the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse number 5. Examine yourselves whether ye be in the faith, prove your own selves. Know ye not your own selves how that Yahushua HaMashiach is in you, except ye be reprobates?
Right, so we first have to examine ourselves. How? Going according to the Lord. Let's also get Psalms 139 from verse 23, I believe. So we need to know whether we're in this faith or we're in this truth. And in order to do that, we need the word in order to filter whether we're in the right spirit and in the right mindset, examining ourselves. Right? Go on.
It's the book of Psalms 139 and verse 23. Search me, O Yahweh.
Do what?
Search me, O Yahweh.
We have to ask the Most High to search us. Right? Our examination has to be based upon righteousness. We need the Most High to examine us. We need our intentions to be pure. Go on.
And know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts.
Go on.
And see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting.
Right, and that's why it's important to have people around you that you can actually congregate with, which is a beautiful thing about the Sabbath and being a part of a body. If you just go according to your own ways, no one's ever going to be able to show you something. Like, don't be ignorant and thinking that the Most High won't speak through, people that are around you to actually edify you. Don't ignore those things, right? So we want to make sure that the Most High can reveal unto us any understanding and anything that we're lacking in. So we have to first start with ourselves. When we clean ourselves, then we can show the lack of clarity in others. So let's go to Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 1, because what's important is that we are keeping the things that are good for our diet. And a lot of people kind of ignore these things, right? I think maybe you don't have to keep the dietary law, or maybe you don't really know too much about the dietary. You don't really know what we should eat, shouldn't eat, or why these things are the way they are. Let's get that.
So book of Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, saying unto them, speak unto the children of Israel.
Right, so the Most High spoke to Moses, right? And through Aaron, they taught the children of Israel. This is what we're meant to do. We're meant to be following a law. right? Every animal has its own diet that it's meant to be having, right? You have certain animals which don't follow a particular diet, and we'll get into that. But you have some animals, and in a sense they do. You have herbivores, you have omnivores, you have carnivores, you have animals that have a way that they live, and that's according to the structure that the Most High has put in their spirit that they're meant to be following this particular diet, right? Let's go to Psalms 119, verse 18. It's important to make sure we're doing what our function actually is to do and knowing why we're doing it. Because we don't want to just be at one level. We want to know why we're doing what we're doing as well. The Most High gives us that understanding. You have to go through the precepts, go through the law.
So because Psalms 119 and verse 18, and it reads, "Open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law."
All right. So open our eyes. We want our understanding to be opened. That's our eyes being open, the eyes of our understanding, that we can see the things that are in the law, that we can gain understanding. Because in the world, right, a lot of people, they try and be deep in their sciences. Let's get 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 24. Right? In the world, people are deep in their sciences, and that's what makes people think that, oh, I don't need to follow these scriptures. Even yesterday, at camp, we had people saying, oh, I'm spiritual. They think that their wisdom that they've got is higher or further or more in depth than the wisdom of the scriptures. They think this is some ancient, some old stuff that man wrote time ago. Some English man wrote it a long time ago. He didn't know what he was talking about. Well, that's not the case. These things are deep, man. Right? We just have to take our time with it and not look at things carnally from the perspective of Christianity.
1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 24. "But unto them which are called, both Jews and Greeks, Hamashiach, the power of Yahweh and the wisdom of Yahweh."
Right, the power and the wisdom. Because, really, Jews and Greeks, is chiefly talking about the lifestyle that they live in. Because being a Greek is not just, because the Hellenization is not just a naturalization of nationality placed on you. It's also the mindset that comes with that, the wisdom that comes with that of being a Greek. Having a Greek type of wisdom is really why the Israelites refer to these people as Greeks, because they had a Greek mindset, right? They had the wisdom of the Greeks. The Jews had the wisdom of the Jews, and the Greeks had the wisdom of the Greeks. And we want to understand the wisdom of our forefathers and know how this is important for us, right? So let's go to Joshua chapter 8, verse 32. And this is how we get our wisdom. This is how, when we wanted to find out what's what, find out how we should come to an understanding of what we're meant to be doing, we had to go not according to what this university lecturer says, Professor so-and-so. We didn't have to go to the teacher in the so-called school, in the public schools, right? I'm not saying if your child, stay in school, right? But just know that our wisdom and understanding, it comes from something higher than that. Let's get that book. Sure.
23.
32.
So book of Joshua chapter 8 and verse 32. "And he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel."
All right, that's in the law. That when you go into the land, write the law upon the stones, and that's a custom. And you see, if you know about the Lost Lunar Stone, is the law written upon the stones, man. It's not just some stuff that's made up, man. That's in the law, that you go and write the commandments on the stones, right? And that's what the natives were doing over in America, in the Mexico region. You had these things. You had people that were writing these laws in the Americas, man. Or people were still trying to say, those people they're not Israelites. Right? There was the Israelites in there writing the law in the Paleo Hebrew, man. Let's read down to 34.
Verse 33. "And all Israel and their elders and officers and their judges stood on this side the ark, and on that side before the priests, the Levites, which bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, as well as the stranger, as he that was born among them, half of them over against Mount Gerizim, Salakia, and half of them over against Mount Ebal. And Moses, the servant of the Lord, had commanded before that they should bless the people of Israel.
Right. So these were our professors. These were our teachers, our officers, the priests, the Levites. These were the ones who would give us our understanding. So we didn't have the oh yeah, we need someone who's this particular. I know I'm on the live, so I've got to be careful. Someone of this particular skin color. You know, people kind of exalt. I'm like, oh, if it's not coming from this person, then I'm not listening to it. Right? We didn't have that back then. We're only listening to our people because we had a respect and understanding that our people in righteousness are going to give forth a higher level of understanding, right? Making sure that, you know, that the wisdom that is coming down to their people is of their own system.
All right.
Let's read to 34 as well.
Verse 34, and afterward he read all the words of the law, the blessings and cursings, according to all that is written in the book of the law.
Right, some people are just wondering, why we keep going into the law? You know, why can't we talk about Esau? Why can't we talk about what the Edomites are doing right now? Why can't we? Yeah, why can't we talk about grace? You know, Christianity. Let's get onto Christians. No, we're going to talk about what we should be doing, what we're meant to be doing, which is keeping the law. Our forefathers would read all the words of the law. We're meant to be going into the law, right, and be established from that. Let's get 1 Timothy chapter 1 verse 8. Right, it's kind of a classic right now because, you know, we need to make sure, being an Israelite, knowing that we're teaching the law and keeping the law, that we're knowing the law as well, right? You don't want to just stay in any type of ignorance, man.
It's the book of 1 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number 8, and it reads, but we know that the law is good if a man use it lawfully.
Right. The law is good if a man uses it. It's not good if a man says, oh no, we don't need to keep it anymore. That's not good. It's good if a man use it. Right? The law is good if a man use it, not if a man doesn't use it. All right, let's read on.
Okay. Verse 9, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, and for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers.
Right. The Most High didn't make the law for himself. Right? He made it for us. Right? We don't need to go out there and, you know, it's not like teachers of the world, right? And they accidentally make a mistake on the whiteboard and then they act like, oh no, I did that on purpose. And then you have to correct the teacher, put your hand up and say, look, miss, you spelled that wrong. And the Most High, he didn't spell nothing wrong, man. He didn't get any of these commandments wrong. He didn't get any of these laws wrong. When he made the earth, he made the laws that come with it. So the wisdom that comes from the scriptures is the wisdom that comes from the same thing that create the sun, the moon, and the stars, and all the things that are dwelling, all the things that are keeping our body functioning. That same Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, is the creator of these things and the creator of the wisdom that comes from this word, right? So let's go to, let's put up Isaac Newton real quick, right? So-called Sir Isaac Newton, because he's someone who, right, is a pioneer of the scientific world, right? Go in this one, right? If you go on this page here, on this Wikipedia article, right? He's a pioneer of the scientific world, and if we go down to theology, right? And this is pretty much gonna debunk any type of people that kind of come against the scriptures through. They say, no, I believe in science. I believe in, you know, physics and you know, real things. But this is your top scientist, man. This was the Einstein before Einstein, right?
It's theology. Okay, yeah, cool. Praises.
So, you know, I'm led to believe there's no I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows about Isaac Newton. Everyone's heard of Isaac Newton, right? He came with this so-called the gravitational theory, right? That, you know, the reason why things go down to the ground is because of the laws of this gravitational force, right? But how did he, and people basically juxtapose science and God, right? They say science versus God. That's what they say. Like these things are like who people going down scientific routes were kind of just going against the Most High. But let's see, this believer's an Edomite, right? He's a let's read it actually. Let's just read it.
From the top,
Yeah.
So it says theology, religious views. Although born into an Anglican family by his 30s, Newton held a Christian faith.
A Christian faith, right? Isaac Newton himself, right, grew up as a Christian, right? Go on.
That, had it been made public, would not have been considered orthodox by mainstream Christianity, with one historian labeling him a heretic.
Right. So Isaac Newton himself, bearing in mind this is mid 17th or coming up to the late 17th century, right? He was a Christian, but he wasn't like every other Christian. He had a different type of doctrine, Anglican, which is kind of more popular today. Let's read on.
By 1672, he had started to record his theological researches in notebooks which he showed to no one, and which have only been available for public examination since 1972.
Wow.
Over half of what Newton wrote concerned theology and alchemy, and most has never been printed.
Right. Most of what he wrote concerned theology and alchemy, right? Theology is the study of God, and alchemy is these sciences. So the majority of what he was writing was on those topics, was about God and science, right? Because he was actually growing up Christian. Let's read on it more.
Khan, his writings demonstrate an extensive knowledge of early church writings.
So he had an extensive knowledge of early church writings. Yeah, this is just the background. We're going to get into it more.
And showed that in the conflict between
Athanasius
and Arius, which defined the creed, he took the side of Arius.
Right, because he had a council, right, a creed, like a Nicene creed, about what the deity of Christ was going to be, right? And that's something that he was actually studying. He was actually looking into that himself through being a Christian, right? And what did he conclude? Go on.
Took the side of Arius, the loser.
Right, the loser, because they were battling to see, is Christ going to be the Most High or is he not going to be the Most High, right? And Arius was the loser, right? Because they went with the other. Let's read on.
The loser who rejected the conventional view of the Trinity.
Right, he rejected the conventional view of the Trinity. Right, so Isaac Newton was like, I'm looking at it from scientifically, and you know what, that Trinity doesn't make sense, but he's looking at it as a Christian, right? Because he's an Anglican.
Right. Newton recognized Christ as a divine mediator between God and man.
Right. And unless I'm mistaken, the scripture says exactly that.
Right.
If I'm not, like, without the divine bit, word for word. So he's saying, look, the scripture says that he's a mediator between God and man. So why are we saying that he is God himself?
Right.
Right. So he rejected that. Go on.
He was subordinate to the Father who created him.
Right. So he kind of had some kind of doctrine going on. He knew what was going on in that type of aspect. Right. Go on.
He was especially interested in prophecy, but for him, the great apostasy was Trinitarianism. See that? So he was interested in prophecy. So what kind of guy that doesn't believe in God or is an atheist is going into the prophecy saying, you know what, Christ is actually the Son of God, and those type of things. This is one of your heaviest Christians, really. This is one of the top Christians, right? He's a so-called scientist, man, right? Let's read on a little bit more. It says Newton tried unsuccessfully to obtain one of the two fellowships that exempted the.
Let's read the next bit.
It says, in Newton's eyes, worshipping Christ as God worshipping Christ as God was idolatry. To him, the fundamental sin.
Right. So you have to. So when we say that Christ and the Most High is not the same thing, you have to understand people already. This is not some new thing that we just made up, or something that our Israelites you just made that up. No, we didn't just make that up, right? Christians were saying that back then, man. Right? Christians were kind of going into science, and they were using that same thing back then. So just because someone is a scientist, don't think that science is in opposition to God. No, science can actually be used to explain and understand the things that the Most High is going into. Because scientists, the top scientists, were actually going into the scriptures. This guy knows verses, man, that some people don't even know, right? He's going into the scriptures and actually getting his wisdom from there and getting his understanding from there. So, Esau, they don't like to show you that. They just show you when you're going to school and they teach you about Isaac Newton. Oh yeah, basically you got his wisdom from the scriptures, right? And he was kind of going into the early church writings and going into, the prophecies of the scriptures, man. They didn't say that. They just said, yeah, go into forces, push and pull, Newtons and stuff like that with the capital N. They didn't tell you about, these type of things because they don't want to give credit to the Most High, right? They want to take that credit of the Most High and give it to this guy. But he gave his credit to the Most High, man. All right. So let's go back to Leviticus 11 and verse 2. Sure.
Okay. Okay, it's the book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse number 2. And it says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the earth."
Right, so beasts. So beasts here in this context, let's look up the definition of beast. It's talking about mammals for real, right? It's not just talking about Monsters Inc. and random animals, man. Beauty and the Beast, right? It's talking about mammals in general. I don't think every time you think of beast, you're thinking of something. The Gruffalo, man. You're thinking of the Gruffalo every time you see beast. Oh man, beast is an ancient word for a mammal in this context.
It says the meaning of beast. It says an animal, especially a large or dangerous four-footed one.
Right, a large or dangerous four-footed one. I read the second bit.
It's a domestic animal, especially a bovine farm animal.
Right, which is a cattle basically. So a beast is like your cattle, those four-footed type animals that the big ones that walk on fours. Right, these are your beasts. Right, and you had people, right, in the New Testament or after Mashiach died for us, were just deciding and debating whether we should eat animals or not. Let's go to that in Romans 14 verse 1. Because you've got this law telling you about these are the ones that ye shall eat. Right? It says these are the beasts which ye shall eat. So when people say, no, you know what, you can't eat meat, you're not meant to. And the law is saying these are the animals, or these are the beasts that you shall eat. Right? And even the Levites, they would have to partake in the sacrifices, man. They would have to partake in the eating of the meat. Levi, the priest can say, no, I'm vegetarian. I'm not I'm not having part of those sacrifices. Right? Right. Let's get that book for sure.
Verse 1.
Let's get verse 2 I think.
So it's the book of Romans 14 and verse 2. "For one believeth that he may eat all things, another who is weak eateth herbs."
So herbs in this context, not talking about thyme, rosemary, right? That's not just the herbs, because herbs is like, look at the word herbivore. Herbivore means a person who just eats or an animal that is a vegetarian. So the herbs in this context, right, is talking about vegetables. So one believes it can make all things, and this all things is not talking about all types of things that are unclean as well. Right. The all things, all is saying you have herbs over here, and then you have vegetables over here, and you have vegetables and meats over here. So the all is talking about the vegetables and the meats. It's not saying the vegetables, the meats, the cockroaches, the beetles,
Snails.
and the foul things on the earth. It doesn't mean that type of all things. Right? It's not talking about magic mushrooms, is it? Right? Saying, oh yeah, we can eat magic mushrooms because it says all things. It's obviously not talking about. Keep it in the context, man. Right? So these Christians, man, they're trying to take these verses out of context. No, don't do that. Don't be silly. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 1 as well. Because there's context to, the meats that we're meant to be eating and the meats we're not meant to be eating.
It's the book of 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse number 1. And it reads, "Now the Spirit speaketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils."
Right, there's a lot of spirits gonna be going around in the last days. A lot of doctrines, a lot of different heresies, right, that are gonna be occurring. So we have to make sure that we're steadfast in the faith, and the only way to do that is to be sincere and examining ourselves. If we're worrying about the wrong things without prioritizing ourselves, we will lose faith. We need to be steadfast in the faith by examining ourselves and taking this truth seriously, making sure the Lord is in our inward parts. Let's read on to verse 4.
Verse 2, "Speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience seared with a hot iron."
Some people speaking lies, right? And they got the mark of the beast on them going.
"Forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats which Yahweh have created to be received."
Right. So it says the Most High has created to be received. Right. What does it mean, received? Eaten. That's the only way you can receive food. It's the only way it can go. You can receive it. Right. So if in order for you to receive food, it is have created to be eaten. So some things were created to be eaten and received. Some things were created not to be received. Right. So don't twist these words up, man. Go on.
"To be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth."
And what's the truth? The law, man. So if you know the truth, you know the law, and you believe, and you have faith in Hamashiach Yahushua, then you're gonna know the things that are received to be eaten, and things that are not going to be received to be eaten. So it's in the law is commanded the things that you're meant to eat and not meant to eat. Let's go to Leviticus 11 and then verse 3. That's it's up to you.
No, you want Leviticus 11?
Yeah.
Okay. It's the book of Leviticus chapter 11, and you'll suffer free. Verse 3, "Whatsoever part of the hoof and is cloven footed and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat."
Right. So part in the hoof and cloven footed is one thing trying to say the same thing. It's really talking about the feet. It has that divide in it, and that is split in the hoof, man. Speaking and it's referring to hoof because speaking about beasts, these 4-footed animals that are upon the earth, and these animals that do that and chew the cud, they're called ruminants, right? So you can kind of categorize some of these animals even below what they're referred to as and let's look that up because ruminants, ruminants. Right. You can categorize them below just general mammals because you can't just eat all mammals. Right. You can't eat a hamster, man.
Oh, okay.
You eat a pet hamster. Ruminant. So take out the ER. Yeah. Take out the T. And then A and T.
So it says ruminant, an even-toed ungulate mammal that chews the cud, regurgitated from its rumen. The ruminants comprise the cattle, sheep, antelopes, deer, giraffes, and their relatives.
Right. So these are so this is the science taken from the scriptures, right? That Esau himself would classify this, he calls it ruminants. So these ruminants are the animals that you can eat, right? Even told ungulate mammal that chews the cud, right? Even tells you what that means. That's regurgitated from its rumen. So speaking about the stomachs that the food has to pass through and be digested over time in order for it to get to its final destination, right? So it tells you the ruminants comprise the cattle, sheep, antelopes, deer, giraffes, and their relatives. Because those animals mentioned, there will be ruminants. They're animals that we can eat, right? These are animals that are cloven-footed and chew the cud among the beasts. And these are things that, in the scripture, it just tells you on a basic level. It doesn't give you that fancy name or fancy words, right? But Esau, he likes those fancy words. And that's what he calls it. So this is the science to it. Can I read that bit as well?
It says, what are ruminant animals?
Mm-hmm.
The term refers to a large group of herbivores with a 4-chambered stomach.
Mm-hmm.
Most ruminants have hooves with 2 digits,
Mm-hmm.
and they are also the only animals that can digest their food without thoroughly chewing it.
Mm-hmm.
Commonly known ruminant animals include cows, sheep, goats, moose, camels, deer, giraffes, and buffaloes.
Right, and we're going to get onto, there's a part in that the Most High kind of clarifies as well. So it's like the Most High is eliminating certain animals. This is not the final elimination, right? There's a couple more after these in the succeeding verses that are gonna cut out some of those as well, or one particular one of those. So, right, these animals they chew the cud, right? They have multiple stomachs that the food can pass through, be digested, and pass through in order for it to be deemed as a clean animal. So it's not just I remember when I was very very young in school, right? It was in religious education, RE, and it's Edomite said the reason why people didn't eat pork back then is because they didn't have the proper resources or whatever to actually cook it properly. So they didn't eat pork back then, and that's the reason why. And he was basically like the nerd in the school.
You see that?
He was like the person who everyone, because he was like the so-called computer nerd. So everyone kind of just, oh yeah, he must be right. Yeah, that's probably why. And he was there sitting all smug and that, thinking, thinking, yeah, he kind of ate, But that's not the reason why, man. It's not because they couldn't cook it properly, man. No matter how much you cook the pork, no matter how much you cook anything unclean, no matter what it is, you can't cook the uncleanliness out of it, man.
And then pray.
Yeah, man, you can't pray the uncleanliness, right, of a meat that is already deemed unclean. You can't pray against what the Most High has already set up, man. Right? You can't. that's just evil, man. So anything that the Most High set up to be clean, that's what we can eat. So you have these things deemed as ruminants, right? And that's how it's categorized in the scriptures in verse 3. But Esau will call it a ruminant. These are like herbivorous animals chiefly, and they digest their food in this particular way. So let's get verse 4. It's going to rule out one of those ruminants.
It's Leviticus 11 and verse 4, and it reads, nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof.
Right. So these are those ruminants that, right, you can't eat. All right, go on.
As the camel, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
Right, so you can't eat the camel. Right. Let's look up real quick. I can't remember the article for it, but you find it anyway. Muslims eating camel.
I was thinking that as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously, they tried to. It's like Chinese whispers in a sense, right? You have the scriptures, and then you have like, the Mishnah. You have the Quran, and you have other stuff that kind of comes after the scriptures that are not the same thing, but they either got things. The Mishnah's got things added to it. The Quran's got things taken out. To put it in the nicest way I can say it. Right?
It's another reason as well on that point where it says, like we brought out to these Muslims yesterday, like Deuteronomy 4:2, like not adding or taking away. So you see there that even with that understanding, the Bible and the Quran, they can't be matched. Because why is it the Bible doesn't teach to eat camel, but there, as Islam question and answer, right, it's going to tell us, right? It said it is proven that the Prophet, right, enjoined doing wudu after eating camel meat, but he did not explain the reason why. We know that Allah, right, is most wise and all-knowing. He does not prescribe anything for his slaves except that which is good and is in their best interest in this world and the hereafter. He does not forbid them anything but that which is harmful for them in this world and the hereafter. So it's winging it.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know. So they actually, because those people, right? I'm not even gonna use, but those people, his people, right? They like camels a lot. So really, the same way you had some nations that would worship cows, right? They kind of get down with that's their animal that they flock to. So they actually they drink camel milk as well, and they believe that camel milk actually it can cure certain diseases if you drink camel milk. But obviously that's not the Most High said you can't have no camel. So you shouldn't be eating any camel. Camels are a different type of animal. When you deal with these animals, they're calm animals. Camels, they like long distance travel. They can go long times without drinking. So their bodies are set up differently, right? They're not set and built like cows, sheep, deer, and these type of animals. They're set up completely different, right? So the Most High has ruled out camel. You can't eat any camel, right? You know what I'm saying?
Well, when we go down through it, we'll get to there.
So let's read on.
That's fine. Verse Leviticus 11:5, and the coney, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you.
And the coney is a rabbit, right? You just look up coney, it's a rabbit, so they used to call it back then. So let's get the first one. Yeah, this one here. Yeah. And you might say, okay, why are you bringing this out? Our people don't do any of this thing. Our people don't. Our people do these things, man. Right.
Rise a rabbit. Sorry, bugs. I'm gonna start by making a marinade. Olive oil, rosemary, thyme, garlic, lemon zest, and my garlic pepper rub. Layers of flavor, baby. Let that rabbit soak and saturate up for about 4 hours. Stuffing the shit out of it. Lemon. Let's rotisserize a rabbit. Sorry, bugs. I'm gonna
the language. But, right, this guy, he's got the pepper rub. Let's just rewind that. What did you put in there? Not that I want to know because I want to make it. He's got the herbs. He's got the garlic pepper rub. It said layers of flavor, baby. And he's putting it in this rabbit leg. He's smelling it, man. Stuffing lemons in it. Right, putting I think that's like onion he put in there or shallot or something. What did he just drink? I don't even know what he just drank. Oh, okay. Now he's putting it on the grill, man.
Use a hyssop in that.
Yeah, man, like it's on Passover now.
That's wicked.
Now he's opening it up. Putting more olive oil on it.
See that?
Now he's getting his daughter in it, man. So I said that rabbit magic. Alright, let's see. See, that's disgusting, man. Right? So people be eating these type of things, man. They be eating rabbits. So right, you have to understand we can't eat these things. They have their own lifestyle that they live. Let's go Psalms 104 and then verse 17. All right, because the scriptures will kind of show you about these animals as well. And scriptures will show you about camels, even in the language, in the alphabet, right? You have a lot first, which is going into your cow, right? And Bayath, and then Gamal, which is going into your camels. So even in the Hebrew language, you've got cattle and camels, right, being distinct. So you can see that there. Come on, let's get that.
It's the book of Psalms 104 and verse 17. Where the birds make their nest, as for the stork, the fir trees are her house.
So this is telling you, the Bible's telling you about habitats of animals, man. Right? It's saying the stork, it kind of lives in the fir trees, and the birds, they make their nest, right? Go on.
The hills are a refuge for the wild goats, and the rocks for the conies.
Right, so the high hills, they're a refuge for the wild goats, right? Because wild goats, they like to live up in the mountains, and conies, they like to live, it says, in the rocks. So these places, right, like it says, a refuge. So a refuge is a place of safety. So where these animals are living is where they deem as a habitat to keep them safe away from what? Away from predators, right? Sheep, they have shepherds, right? And then you may have like a sheepdog or something, and they'll be protected from the predators in that sense. They stay chiefly on the ground. But goats, they like to be up in the mountains because that's where they can stay away from the type of animals that may try to hunt them down. But that's why you also get certain like leopards and stuff. They'll try to go up in those mountains and get them as well. So it's still, even in safety, it's still not going to be easy. But the scriptures is telling you about biology, all these sciences, man. And it says the rocks for the conies. In this context, obviously rabbits, they live in underground. But here, speaking about them, it's referred to them as being in the rocks. But in the context, we can see what the Bible define as being in the rocks. Let's go to Revelation chapter 6, verse 15. Saying the same way that rabbits, you can get an image of like rabbits in a, you can get these little things, right? Where rabbits, they kind of live in those little things. So it's kind of like a little cave, really, that they live in. Like you never see these rabbits just chilling on the road like that. Like they hide in these places because they're trying to be away from like foxes and stuff that will hunt them down in those lands. Let's get that one.
It's the book of Revelation chapter 6 and verse 15, and it reads, and the kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man hide themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains.
What's a den? That's where these animals live in dens, right? And in the rocks of the mountains. So when it says that the conies, they live in the rocks, that's these little burrows that they made underground. So just like that is how people are going to be having these what do you call today, these underground bunkers. The same way that the rabbits are living in the rocks and in the dens is the same way that man is going to be living as his refuge, away from the predators, away from the foxes, away from the wrath of the Lord. People are going to be hiding in these dens under the ground, just like little rabbits, man. Right? Having a little hibernation. Oh yeah, there's danger outside. It's dark out. It's cold out there. Spiritually, we're gonna stay under underground bunkers. Man. I'm not saying, oh yeah, you go out and do that, right? It says, you know, people are going to be hiding in these things, but you know, these are expensive, right? So, you know, we're going to be following the Most High. We're going to have the Most High as a refuge, as it says in Psalms 91. And whatever he plans for us, we have to have and walk according to that faith, right? You know, faith is not about what you see. It's about what you don't see. So in order for us to be prepared for that time, we have to build up our faith. So you can't put trust. Oh yeah, I've got my underground bunker. I'm going to be good. Yeah, you got that. You got one as well, right? These celebrities, that's what they get. They get these little caves under the ground. You know, they think no one can touch them. No one's gonna find them. The bombs aren't gonna touch them, and all these things. And they think they're gonna escape the wrath of the Lord. You know, you can't sin your whole life, right? Speaking about, oh yeah, what's that song? Put Molly in a drink or something.
She didn't even know it.
And she didn't even know it, right? Putting Molly in drinks and she didn't even know it. And then I don't want to get judged for that, so I'm just gonna build this underground bunker and then I'm gonna hide out there. Most ain't gonna do nothing. He gonna find me there. You know, God can't see me there. You can't hide from the Lord down there when you pop in Molly's and drinks, man. Right? Can't see that. Mark Zuckerberg got that. Got a whole mansion down there.
See that?
Right. So these rich men, these kings of the earth, are building these things.
And you got to think of this, right? If everyone's thinking the same thing when it comes to now this bunker thing, you think people are not going to say, okay, cool, let's go and rob his thing, like, and then he's gonna just okay, we can, you know, the bombs drop and he's just gonna be there. People have the same mindset now. Okay, we're all gonna go to the bunkers. If everyone's gonna go to the bunkers, they're gonna come for you, so you can't hide there, man. Right? Now
they're gonna have to have extensive security out there,
more money, and then the security. Okay, we're tired of you now. Okay, we're gonna kick you out.
Now you got to feed the security. Now you're running out of money from the security. Right now the security know your codes and that.
Yeah. Now it's over.
Now the security are hungry. They know the codes.
See?
They come in. They don't tell you they're hungry. They say, "Oh yeah, it's been a good day outside," but you know, they make stuff happen. So you can't put your trust in these things because people are going to be all over the place.
Right.
Can't go back to Leviticus 11. Let's see, verse 5 now.
The book of Leviticus,
verse 6.
And Leviticus 11 and verse number 6. And it says, and the hair, because he cheweth the cud, but divideth not the hoof, he is unclean unto you. Verse 7. And the swine, though he divide the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you.
That's all these things that you think they'll be on all fours, they'll be all right to eat. No, you find that, no, they're not all right to eat, right? There's all of these animals, they have a purpose upon the earth. Swine, it has its purpose upon the earth. Let's get either of those. I think on that one, I want to think page 74.
Okay.
Right, the swine has its purpose. Right, the swine, it does its thing. Right, let it do its thing. Right, stop taking it away from its job. Right, and saying you're gonna have jerk pork. You can't jerk pork.
Just jerk it up, fam.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, what do you want for?
Let me see.
And also, if you're following on Zoom, if you have the YouTube, you'll be able to see what we're going through in terms of what you pulled up.
I can read that last bit there.
So it says, so this is from Pig Husbandry and Pork Consumption in Medieval England. It says on page 74, more expectations occur, however, suggesting that the phenomenon was less universal than the previous transition.
Yeah.
Average percentages for all three main domesticates from a large number of sites, including those which are not multi-period, demonstrate that while numbers of sheep increase steadily, those of pigs says those of pigs decrease, reinforcing the point that though the main decline probably occurred early after the conquest, the pig continued to lose ground to sheep husbandry in the later part of the period.
Right. So pigs, they were not animals out on the farm that had any particular purpose. Right. Their purpose on the farm was to clean up the farm. They had unselective eating. They didn't choose what their diet was.
Right.
Right. Their purpose on the farm was not to do husbandry. Right. They found, right, even when Esau was trying to exalt the pig, right, that it wasn't as profitable as having a sheep doing husbandry, because pigs don't want to be eating the grass all day. Right. They're involved in all types of other stuff. But the sheep, they're herbivorous. They're gonna eat those things. Whereas the pigs, they are not herbivores. They eat all types of different types of things. And they don't chew the cud for that particular purpose, because they have that unselective eating diet in them. So what Esau would use them for is to clean up things, and he was even doing that himself before he kind of tries to cover that up, right? So when there was high amounts of waste in the streets, it would release the pigs into the streets to clean up the streets. When there was high amounts of waste in the farms, then Esau would use those pigs to clean up the farms. They have those purposes, man. You can't take animals away from their purposes. That's not loving God, man. Right? If you eat pork, you don't love God. You don't love the things that the Most High made. You know, right?
Yeah, Khan. Let's go to Sirach 23 and 17. Because just like brother's talking about how pigs were made for a specific purpose to clean up, and just like, certain animals, they kind of might look at, like squirrels. You give them the nut, they kind of look at it, you know what I'm saying, before they don't just start eating it. You know what I'm saying? They won't just eat anything. You know what I'm saying? Certain animals have that spirit. With a pig, right? And like you say, you are what you eat. Right, because a pig, that's a whoremonger spirit. It won't stop it. It just, okay, cool, find this and then eat that. Right, let's read that.
Sirach 23 verse 17. All bread is sweet to a whoremonger.
Right,
he will not leave off till he died.
Right, so that's just like a pig, man. A pig will just keep on eating, and just get bigger and bigger, and then it just dies. That's the same spirit that a pig has. Right, that's why demons were even cast out into them, man. Because we keep on doing it until we die. That's a whoremonger spirit, right? And you don't want to, you don't want to be, you don't want to have that pig spirit, man, right? Can't.
And on top of that, let's go to 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 22. Go on.
Can't. So book of 2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 22.
All right, look at how the Most High speaks about pigs in the New Testament, man. Go on.
It reads, but it is happened unto them according to the true proverb, the dog is turned to his own vomit again.
Right, we can't eat dogs. We cannot eat dogs. Right, you have to be careful where you're eating. If you go in Chinatown, be careful. Right, if you're going to, Dragon Palace, Jade Palace, Mr. Zheng's chow mein.
Golden Dragon.
Careful out there, man. Go on.
The dog is turned to his own vomit again, and the sow that was washed to her wallowing in the mire.
Right, so the sow that was washed. A sow is a pig, right? That's a female pig. That's why it says her. So the pig, if you wash a pig, right, it's gonna go back to wallowing, means just run, just rolling about, just reveling in it, man.
Mincing
in the mire, in the little mud pits, man. So pigs are unclean by nature, and that's in the New Testament, right? You can't eat a dog, I'm yet to see a Christian eat a dog and say, yeah, because I can eat all things, I'm going to eat a dog. I prayed over the dog. Rover, he was, getting on, he just looked tasty, so I just took him and just ate him. You can't just eat a dog, man. Yeah, it's my pet dog. We just eat it. My dog just had 5 puppies, and I'm just gonna take one of them and I'm gonna, turn it into a kebab. Right, put it in some pita bread and put some salad in it. Right, that's not puppy love, man. So these souls, they go back to wallowing in the mind. They wash themselves, or you can wash them, but they just go back and make themselves dirty again. They're just unclean by nature. Even with dogs, they're unclean by nature as well. As much as Esau tries to make dog his best friend, look, they are unclean by nature. Now, no matter how much you trying to have that dog sleep in your bed, it's still unclean by nature. No matter, even if you clean it, man. I was showing that video, man. This guy combed his dog. All types of fleas are on the comb and stuff. Obviously, you wash your dog, and stuff like that. You can keep a dog in good condition, of course. But in a Babylon in general, Esau puts his dog so close and next to him, and he's licking up his face and stuff like that. He's kissing it. He's making love, to the dog pretty much, man. Right? So you can't do that. Their dogs are meant to be outside in the Caribbean, right? They are outside. Dogs are just chilling amongst one another, and they're having a good time. You've been to Caribbean? The dogs are just outside, man, just chilling amongst one another. It's like that they're just outside, right? In countries where Israelites are at, the dogs are just outside and they're actually having a good time. Here, dogs can't chill together, man. One dog sees another dog, then it's on sight. Right? They get all like overprotective and now they're trying to bite another dog's neck off, man. I mean, in countries where the Israelites are at, we don't have that type of disorder, right? The dogs are just there, they're chilling, they're cool, they're amongst one another, they're just out here, man. They're cool, but they're outside though, right? So pigs as well, man. You can't eat pork, man. Right? They are naturally unclean by nature. It's in the New Testament. Don't try and lie in the scriptures. Don't try and twist the words. Stop being weird. Stop trying to have those ribs. You can have beef ribs.
Right.
I actually tried that. You gotta make sure you get the fat off that thing, but right, you can have beef ribs, man. It's succulent. Right? So don't try and have I just want some ribs. There's beef ribs, there's lamb ribs, I believe, as well. So, most animals have ribs, so you don't have to have the rib of a pig just to have ribs. You don't have to have the meat slice of a pig just to have bacon, or just to have some rashers, or just to have some slices to put in your sandwich. There's other meats that you can slice, right? Stop lusting for these animals that God said don't eat it just because Esau wants you to eat it, which really came from the Spanish Inquisition, where they were trying to see who's an Israelite and who's not. So when you actually decide not to eat pork, you're actually making a statement, right, that you are not following the ways of this world, man. That you are going to stand up boldly for the Most High, because people would actually die for this thing. People would die for eating pork, or not eat pork. I would say it's lucky.
Put the finger battery in that as well. I pulled it out already, but yeah, even on that point as well, we'll go to Luke 15, right? Luke 15. We'll start from verse 15, because you can't impose and say, okay, cool, because we blessed it, right? We blessed the pork, right? How can you bless something that we were never told to eat from the beginning, right? It was never considered food to start off with, but now you're gonna say, okay, cool. Pastor Jono, right? He said, okay, we're gonna make this, we're gonna bless this, right? You can't do that, man. Right? So when you get that as well. All right. Luke 15 and 15.
It's Luke 15, verse 15. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into his fields to feed swine.
Right. Because hey, you can have pigs, like you said. The pigs have a purpose to clean up. But it doesn't mean you're picking it up and you're taking it and there's some movies where they got Esau, like she got a pig in that, and she kind of caters after pig's got a jacket over her, right? It's one of these Edomite films. I don't know the name, right?
Charlotte's Web or something.
See that Charlotte's Web spirit, right? Have you done?
I know it's like a real quick on that point where it says to feed swine. Swine can be fed with the scraps of the field. Kind of just get the scraps and then just feed that to the swine.
And you could select it even at that point. You could throw the pig, another pig, and he say, yeah, cool, that's it. That's the motive. And they'll eat that. All right, go on.
Brunch.
That brunch spirit. Right?
16 says, and he would fain have filled his belly with the husks that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him.
Right. So notice here that in this parable with the two sons, right? He wasn't going to eat the swine. He wasn't going to, okay, yeah, the swine looks good. No, he wanted he was looking to fill his belly with the husk that the swines ate, not the swines themselves. So let's not let's not impose something that's not there. Like let's not do that at all, right? You got a point?
I'm going back to Leviticus.
Okay, well, I will go into this point as well, because even on that point, right? These so-called Muslims.
No, that other article as well, actually. But yeah,
so-called Muslims will, and that's again back to the point that the Bible and the Quran is not the same, because they allow you in the time of trouble, right, to eat pork. But like the brother was saying, our people were literally martyred for eating or being forced to eat unclean foods, right? So when you look into that, we'll read what their so-called holy book says, right? So this is Surah 2 and 173, right? And they'll say, okay, what ayat is it, right? It's Al-Baqarah or whatever the hell this is. It says, he hath only forbidden you dead meat and blood and the flesh of swine, and that on which any other name have been invoked besides that of Allah. But if one is forced by necessity, right, without willful disobedience, nor transgression due limits, then is he guiltless, for Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful, and whatever, right? You can see here that in the time of trouble, hey, you need that, you're stranded, let's say it's Jacob's trouble, right? You're a Muslim and you're an Israelite. Hey, Allah says, okay, go at his pork belly there, go eat that. That's what the Quran is teaching, but the Bible doesn't say that. The Bible doesn't say, okay, cool. If you're about to die, okay, quickly pick up a bacon sandwich and now let's get to it. The Bible doesn't say that, right? So that's where that's where you see.
Or if you're burning, just commit adultery.
Yeah, if you're burning, if you need to do it, right? Allah is forgiving and merciful, right? He's gonna say, okay, cool, go and commit adultery by necessity.
That's all that was around.
There was nothing else there. There was no one else's wife there but his. So I'm gonna take that. Allah's for that doesn't even make any sense, man. Right? So you don't let people tell you, and that's what I'm saying. Don't let people tell you that the Bible and the Quran is different. Yes, it is different because this is what they teach, right? And I'll get another precept as well. The second Maccabees to show, right? To show that. Can't. Right?
6 and 18.
See that? Right? Because during this time, people were forced to eat pork. They were forcing people to eat pork. And how are we going to eat something that was used to defile the temple? And we're going to say, okay, yeah, that's clean. That doesn't make any sense. You can't eat something that was used to make the temple unclean. We're the temple now, and you people are eating pork and say, yeah, rubbing your fingers together like Birdman. Right? So let's just get 2 Maccabees 6. Double Cashapp.
2 Maccabees chapter 6, verse 18. Says, Eleazar, one of the principal scribes, an aged man and of a well-favored countenance, was constrained to open his mouth and to eat swine's flesh.
Right, but what did he do? See? You got it?
But he, choosing rather to die gloriously than to live stained with such an abomination.
With what?
With such an abomination, spit it forth and came of his own accord to the torment.
Right, so he said, I'm not going to eat that. Right, because he obviously didn't pick up the Quran and say, cool, yeah, the Quran says this is fine. Right, you know, he said, no, I'm not eating that. Right, he said, I'd rather die gloriously than to commit sin. Just like in Acts 10, people say I was talking about food. Right, I was talking about you can eat all food. But Peter said, I haven't eaten nothing uncommon. So even with that point, you're either saying we can eat anything we want, or it's talking about people. You got to pick.
And then after that, he didn't say, okay, cool, we got your revelation. And then afterwards, he had a big feast after. And so, yeah, he's like, also I can eat unclean foods. And then, yeah, he started getting the shrimp dishes with the lobsters and the corn and stuff in the side. And going, and just finally, this is the moment I've been waiting for. I've never eaten anything unclean, but God said I can't call anything unclean. And then he actually had a big feast. He had the pork, he had the camel, right? He just started eating, freaking off with all the unclean things he could eat because he was lusting towards that anyway.
Right.
No, man, you gotta love the Most High God.
And even on that point as well, same thing with E numbers, right? You got to be very circumspect with your E numbers as well in certain foods, because there are E numbers that actually contain pork. There's some things like certain foods, it says suitable for like vegetarians or vegans. Those are the foods you really want to appeal to, unless obviously it's like a clean food, right? But there's certain E numbers, right? If you look into it, you'll see, okay, that's maybe the pork. Even in medicine, I think it's the casing around it that is sometimes made out of gelatin, you know. So you got to be very circumspect about what it is you're eating, right? I'll get one more precept as well. All right, let's go to Isaiah 66 as well. Right, because people say, okay, you know, I can eat this, but why is there, if you can't eat this, it's just straight to the point in 17. If you can't eat this, why is there a judgment for eating? Why is there a judgment for eating something? Right, go on.
Isaiah chapter 66, verse 17. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens, behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith Yahweh.
Right, so there's a judgment. This hasn't happened yet. But hey, people, you know, you read the curses, or people eat these kind of foods because you're not eating the right foods. That's why you're feeling sick. You've got diabetes, high cholesterol, right, high blood pressure. Why? Because you're just stuffing your face with rabbits and pigs and all sorts of madness, right? So there's a judgment for eating unclean foods, right? You got it.
And we get one more article as well. I think I have another one on there.
Yeah, can't.
Yeah, get that one first, and then another one. Yeah, just that highlight.
Can't.
That's kind of fun.
So this is on New Scientist, and it says,
because and one time, I ain't gonna say you said it, but went to Jamaica one time, and this guy said, you know, the pigs back then are different to the pigs today, so you can still eat pork. That's what he said. That's
It's a book, Salaki, it's a book. This is a New Scientist. It says tickled pink. By contrast, all the mutations in domestic pigs altered coat color. Black pigs overproduce eumelanin.
So you got black pigs, they have melanin, right? Even pigs have melanin.
You see that?
Right? Even animals even pigs, they got melanin. Sheep, they got melanin, right? They got a white coat around them, right? And they're black.
Black pigs overproduce eumelanin, for example, and pig and pink pigs stop making melanin altogether, resulting in a default pink color.
See that? So because they don't have melanin, now they're pink, right? So
See that?
I'm not even gonna. You just use your discernment. You just use your discernment. All right. I want to get another one. If you type in the role of pigs in the Spanish Inquisition, or the role of pork even. And then that's where you're like paella and the high amounts of pork is in Spain and Portuguese food is for that reason. Can read just that part right there.
Okay.
It's fine.
Right. So it says the role of pork. I said porks. The role of porks in the Spanish Inquisition during the 16th and 17th century, eating pork could be a matter of life or death.
Right. So this is the time where our people were getting rounded up before they were getting put into slavery, because you had Israelites living in Spain as the Moors, and they wanted to kick them out. As to why the Romanus Pontifex was put in place, that anyone going against Catholic doctrine will be a slave, really aimed at the Israelites, right? Because Catholic doctrine was that you can eat anything you want. So it's going to show you why they did this.
It says the Spanish Inquisition viewed diet as a good indication of religious belief.
Right. So diet was basically to see like what your beliefs are. And that's why when Christians today have that spirit of eating pork, yeah, it's fine, and they fight for it, they're actually fighting for the Spanish, man. They're fighting for the Catholics. They're fighting for standing and that same indoctrination that was placed upon our people, man. Let's finish that.
It says refusing pork was considered primary factive evidence of Jewish or Muslim identity.
Right. So they were basically, they were trying to find out who the Jews were. And one way of seeing who the Jews were was providing people with pork and providing people, they would even try and find out specifically who the Jews were, because Muslims, they eat shellfish, but they made paella and then put all types of shellfish in the paella and then put that forth onto people to see who the actual Jews were, because they would want to know. That's why it's called the Inquisition. They were making an inquiry to find out where the Israelites are at, so that they could round them up and get them out. And these are the type of things that are going to happen again, man. Right? They would, they would force you to be converted. They were called conversos or Marranos, right? And then that's how you get the Maroons as well, right? Because they were not going according to these Spanish people that was trying to convert. Let's go back to Leviticus 11. So us refusing to eat pork is more important than you think, right? It's more important than you think. These Spanish foods, so, if you're living in these Spanish countries or these Portuguese countries, be careful out there, man, because all they love these unclean foods, man, right? And you put that a lot on our people, like in Colombia, Honduras, all these type of places, Brazil, they got all these unclean foods in there, right? And chitlins, man, I was looking at, man. Can't be eating chitlins and hogmaw and pig feet like that. Like John Witherspoon in Friday, right? Opening the fridge, man. Talking about you love chitlins and pig feet and hogmaw.
Doing that.
Right. But even in Jamaica, they call it tripe. You can't have tripe. Eating just intestines and pigtail, stewed pigtail, all of that stuff is disgusting. There might be some people right at home now, they're kind of reminiscing. Oh, those were the good old days when I had that pigtail. No, man, that's off. You need to repent, right? You need to repent. People would actually rather lose their life than eat that, right? You got to love one and despise the other. As was bringing out yesterday.
So this is in the Zondervan dictionary, Zondervan Bible dictionary. It says boar in Psalms 80 and 13. The wild boar from the forest is said to destroy the vine, but other references imply domesticated swine. Although the meat of swine was forbidden as food for the Israelites, in one instance, a herd of 2,000 was found in the country of Gadarenes. And it says the prodigal degradation led to the feeding of swine. Warning was not given to cast pearls before swine. See that? So point being, even well, maybe if we go into it as well in terms of the science, people should understand even when it comes to the ark that it wasn't just okay, you had bear every single animal we have today. As well, it goes to the kind, to the origin, right? The forefather, if you want to say, of each individual animal, right? Like it with sheep's or certain, like the boar is believe it's got horns or it's got like tusk. That's it. Yeah, it's got tusk. But the pork today, the pigs today, sorry, they've been domesticated. So they don't call them boar, they call them pigs because they're like, certain animals, sheep as well, they've been domesticated. Some of them they have horns, but because they've been domesticated, sorry, they are different. Can't.
A lot of these animals like dogs as well. These little Jack Russells, man.
Sausage dogs. My mom was telling me they were made to, I don't know if to go through tunnels. That's what they say. It has a purpose, you know what I'm saying? But this is weird breeded dogs, man.
Yeah. So yeah, and that's a good point. Cast not your pearls before swine. Why do you have a shy say that?
Right.
Because they obviously eat anything, right? If it said don't cast your pearls before swine, it's because they eat anything. They'll even eat your pearls, literally. So, and then turn again and rend you. Let's get that actually. Matthew 7, verse 6. They turn again and rend you.
See that? His stomachs.
Basically, you give these pigs something, they'll come for you after, man. Right?
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 7 and verse 6. It says, give not that which is holy unto the dogs.
And see how dogs and pigs are used juxtapositionally, just like in 2 Peter chapter 2.
Neither cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn again and rend you.
Rend you, man. Meaning they're going to tear you up, man, and yam you, man. The pigs will eat you, man. So how's your whole child telling you, yeah, eat them? These are monsters, really. These are little monsters. And you look and say they got they're nocturnal, right? They're not like, and Esau likes to cover up. He likes to fight for these pigs, man, right? You don't want to speak about how they're nocturnal, and he'll try to say that they just like sleeping. they just like sleeping a lot. Or what the pigs do is they try to say they're lazy and they just like lying around and stuff like that. No, man, they sleep during the day. That's why they're lying around, man. They're just rolling around. And that's what they do. Just like rats are nocturnal, pigs are nocturnal. They be eating these animals, man.
Right. And just like you said as well, Esau be fighting to defend for the minute, right? It says so. This is it says random, right? It says top 10 reasons to eat pork chops. It says pork chops are great for vitamin B12, thiamine B1, vitamin B6, niacin, phosphorus, and the panatotic acid B5, which protect us from heart disease, protect us against cancer. That's just contradicting. Gives us energy, maintain our DNA, protect our eyes, protect our immune system, detox our bodies, keep us happy. It says if you're eating pork chops, it's gonna keep you happy. That's what, right? Keep your oxygen circulating, keep our cells working normally. Right? Look at this. Always use the juices when possible for the maximum nutritional benefit. So, right, man. See, the brother just said benefits of pork is gut infection. Right? Because God, that's a testimony, man. Brother was saying that. Right?
Yeah. If you wanna, Yeah, just don't eat pork, man.
Clean.
Can't. Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? Yeah, can't. Let's go back to Leviticus 11, verse 9.
Jump to 9.
Oh yeah, 8.
Can. So Leviticus 11 and verse number 9.
8.
So like verse 8, sorry. And it reads, of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you.
Right. So you want to make sure you don't come into contact with the pork, right? As you're saying, no seasoning in it for your family members. You're getting up in there. Right, go on.
Verse 9. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat.
Right, because this is making a distinction between the animals that do not swim in the sea. Right, that's what fins are for, so that and scales, so that these animals can swim in the sea, that they can have balance. Esau calls it locomotion. So these animals can swim effectively in the sea, because things that don't have that, they don't swim in the sea like that, because they don't need to. Why? Because they're on the seabed. Crabs don't need to swim in the sea. They don't have these things. So the Most High is making a distinction between these fish and your crustaceans, right? He's not gonna go, find some Hebrew word for crustacean. No one really knows, and then, right? It's just gonna explain it on a very simple way so that all people can understand. So it's beautiful about the scriptures, man. Right? Everyone can understand. But might see crustacean and think, oh, I don't even know what that is, right? What does that mean? Crusty, and that's probably why it's. But yeah, Krusty the Krab is a crustacean.
You see that? Yeah. Learn something new today.
Yeah, man. So these scales as well, they actually protect the fish from parasites and certain things that can go into it, because it's slippery. So nothing can really get onto it and latch onto it, because it's able to slip through the sea and stuff like that. So we want to make sure that we're going according to the wisdom of God, man. And this is where we get our diet from, knowing why these things are implemented.
Right? That's a good point as well. That's a good point. He said certain hairbrushes, they actually use the hairs of bulls. It's interesting.
That's nasty. That's nasty. That's scary.
See that? You're brushing. You're trying to get that 360 spin. You're brushing. It's damn. It's a pig you're using, fam. See that?
Yeah, man. Don't sin just for waves.
Just for the vibes.
Yeah, man. That's really wrong.
God. Verse 10. And it reads, and all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you.
You can let's look up the purpose of the scales and then do the purpose of the fins separately.
Because even with scales, it's just like skin. It's literally just like skin. If we're cut and some dirt or something gets in there, what's gonna happen? There's gonna be an infection, right? So it says the purpose of scales. It says scales provide protection from the environment and from predators. Fish scales are formed of bone from the deeper or dermal skin layer. The elasmoid branches, e.g. sharks, have placoid scales, which are bony, spiny protection with enamel-like covering.
Right, so you have to have animals that's got scales on it. Right, proper scales, no shark.
Right.
Right. I seen a Jake. You get a baby shark, man, and put it online, and right, I knew the guy as well, but still know him. He's lining up the shark. And he's trying to flex. People kind of try to flex. Oh yeah, look at me, I'm cooking. Yeah, they're trying to
holding
up to the camera. We got the camera there, and he's trying to eat. It's like, what are you doing with that, man? right? And then you know, catfish, all these type of things. You have to make sure what you're eating, right? It's got scales on it. Right? You can't have things that has no scales. Scales are there in order to protect these animals while they're actually going through the sea. Right? You got a point?
Yeah, I do have a point, man. Because see, a lot of these nations, like brother was saying about that Golden Dragon, that Jade's Palace, all these kind of places. A lot of these nations, right? And they will start cooking up turtles. I seen this video, right? It's a TikTok video. I think it's this. Brother got the turtle. He's holding it. Then in the next snap, or the next video, it's all chopped up. And I'm thinking, what's going on? He's seasoning it. He's throwing the seasons. Yeah, right? Just chopping up turtles, man.
Leonardo and them. Man.
Yeah, look at this.
Having a little lunch with your friend, and now spot A for the turtle. Man, he likes spicy.
Look at this. Look. He's bathing it. He's cleaning it. And look what happens after. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it. See?
There's no fin on that.
Look. He's just winging it. And he's saying, yeah, cool. That's a calamari spirit. A lot of Jake got that calamari spirit, man. Go Hakkasan or whatever. Okay, I put it. I want that.
Yeah, man. Don't let a woman tell you to go and eat unclean food, and then you go and do it just for her sake. I'm trying to ask this well, you think she's a sister, but or where do you want to eat? Like, I wanna get some lobster. I know them brothers, they said you're not meant to eat it, but anything for you, babes. And then you just go and you forget the breakdown, man. Right? You forget what you just heard. Right? You forget all of the edification that you received. Just because this person wants you to go on a date with them and have some prawns, and you just say that's the only way I'm gonna get something out of this. I'm just gonna eat some prawns. I'm just gonna do it. Right? And then you get diseased after.
God, and even at that point, remember one time I was in Scotland, right? Remember, but this is before I didn't know about the truth like that, innit? Remember the guy brought over what's it? Is it what's the one with the little the like what's it? I don't know if it's octopus or squid, and it's got the little
the succulent.
Yeah,
the octopus.
I seen that. I said, yo, take that, move that plate. I don't want that. That's scary, man. If you in your logical mind, you can't look at that and say, oh yeah, that looks good. Fam, this thing's got some necks. Like that phobia of holes things everyone used to kind of have back in the day. I kind of had to spin the plate around. Oh.
Yeah, I mean something, and we're gonna go into it more, but there's things that they live in particular habitats for a reason.
Right.
Octopus or octopi, they live at the bottom of the ocean, man, where nobody knows, where it's all dark and stuff. You can't have that fish. I mean, actually, I'm not sure if that fish, the one that has the light on it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it has fins and scales, but if you can, I wouldn't eat it.
Leg like that or something.
I wouldn't eat it though. Regardless, I checked it. I can't remember what it's called. I used to remember the name for it. I
think it's like from Finding Nemo or something.
I mean,
that's what it was in there. Yeah, Cardi is in there, right? So this is the purpose of fins. It says almost all fish have fins that they use for swimming, locomotion, balance, stability, and steering. A catfish has, see that? You're trying to just fight for it. A catfish has dorsal, dips, pose, caudal, paired pelvic, and paired pectoral fins.
So, we have to make sure that the fish we're eating, right? So it's important for Jacob Shubble as well that we're making sure that the things we're eating, they go according to these specifications in the diet, in the dietary law, and the dietary plan for us as well, man. Nutritional plan through the Spirit, making sure that we're good when we get into situations where not everything's going to be packaged, man. In Jacob's trouble, right? Gonna just reading the ingredients. No, man. Gonna have to be reading the law, making sure it actually fits the law, or have these things laid up in your mind, because you might not have your Bible in that day, right? Have these things laid up in your mind. Go over these things. That's why we have to go over the laws. I think I had another point, but let's read on anyway. Leviticus.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 11 and verse 11.
And brother said you can get vegan brushes. So you gotta look clean though. So you can get vegan brushes, man. That's a good shout for those if you're trying to get those waves, get those vegan waves.
It's the book of Leviticus 11:11. It says, "They shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcass in abomination."
Right, so talking about your like brother saying, your octopus, your turtle, right, your squid, like your calamari, your lobster, your crusty the crabs. All of these animals, your mussels, your oysters, your scallops, you can't eat those things. They don't have anglerfish. That's it. Anglerfish. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I didn't think these things are real, fam.
Yeah.
See that?
There's our fins and scales, real quick. Good check.
They're gonna say, "Oh, it's tiny," you know.
Or something. But I don't want to talk into that.
Relax.
It doesn't have scales. See, I wasn't trying to eat anyway. I was thinking, okay, what if it's the last fish? What am I gonna do? Right. So you can't eat that, right? There's certain things they live. The reason they have that light is because they live so down in the depths of the sea.
Right.
There's no light down there because the light doesn't come from the ground. It comes from the sun. When it hits the surface of the sea, it's not going to go all the way down. So it's dark down there. It's where the octopus live and all types of. This is basically like the nocturnal part of the sea, where all the creepy stuff is at, right?
Walking sideways in that.
Yeah, all the creepy stuff. Look at that. Look at this one. Hey, that's not
That's just.
But it's the same thing though. But yeah, man, you can't just buck up on them things and try to eat that, man. What are you gonna do with that?
Dang.
Turn that into soup fish, now.
Off.
So, right, you can't eat no anglerfish. It's got no scales on it, right? And that's why it's set up in that way. It's not for us to eat. That's why it lives down there. Do you really think it will be all the way down there if it was meant to eat it? At the bottom of the sea. How are you gonna get there? Oh yeah, I'm hungry. I'm gonna get in a diver suit with the flip flappers, whatever they're called. Or you get in a submarine or something down there. Like, what are you gonna do to get that, man? How are you gonna catch that? You can't catch that in a net. How long is a net gonna be? Like a mile long net. You can't get them type of fish there. There's a reason why there's fish that you're meant to eat. You know, they're actually catchable with nets, man. Don't need to going down to the bottom of the ocean and getting octopus, bro. Right? And how are you gonna catch a shark? There's things that you're not meant to be eating that's set up in that way.
Can't.
Right?
Yeah, and that's why as well. Look at a lot of, especially in America, or even here maybe, that mainly in America, you'll see that there's certain lakes that now they're just black or brown rather, because they're taking out all the animals, right, the sea creatures that are supposed to be cleaning that. So it's just murky waters now. Barely anything in there. There's no life in there. So that's why they're all just dirty, showing you that the reason why we can't eat these fish, right, or these certain foods is because they have a purpose to serve cleaning the waters. And they say, okay, pollution. Well, it's you lot that's eating this. You want to eat all this nastiness. I will, there you go. Now you're trying to say, okay, we have to eat everything vegan, right? No more meat, right? Too much carbon emissions. It's folly.
And even like foxes, for example, you can see a fox, it likes to be up in the bins and stuff. That's his nature. Right? That's his nature. Let's read on.
Leviticus 11 and verse 12. It reads, Whatsoever have no fins nor scales in the water, that shall be an abomination unto you.
All right. So all of these things, they're abomination. Don't touch any of these things. No prawns, no anglerfish, no octopi, no prawns, shrimp, lobsters, crabs, eels, snails, seahorse, mussels, oysters, any of that stuff. Right? If you haven't heard, you don't know, now you know. Let's read on.
Come. Verse 13. And these are they which shall have an abomination among the fowls. They
Right,
shall.
so there's some things among the fowls that are an abomination. Now, I don't know if you've heard about, I've seen certain doctrines that you know I'm about to say. That you're not allowed to eat chicken, man. They're saying, oh, you know what, you can't eat chicken. You know, some people, you know, they don't know what to do, they're scared. Oh no, can you eat chicken? They're saying this, they're saying that. Well, let's read down. Let's just read through, and we're gonna come back up because we're gonna see. So these are the ones that are abomination. It has, someone on the Zoom. I think that's Yashiro. Maybe someone can mute.
Okay. Verse 13.
Verse 12 still. Oh yeah,
13. It says, and these are they which ye shall have in abomination among the fowls. They shall not be eaten. They are an abomination. The eagle and the ostrich and the osprey and the vulture and the kite after his kind, every raven after his kind, and the owl and the nighthawk and the cuckow and the hawk after his kind, and the little owl and the cormorant and the great owl and the swan and the pelican and the gier eagle and the stork, the heron after his kind, and the lapwing and the bat.
Right. So all of these, they have their own classification that they come under. So firstly, we don't see the word chicken here, right? And chicken belongs to a particular group that it actually come from. So you can actually have fowls, birds that you can eat. Let's go to 1 Kings chapter 4, verse 22. Who's trying to get?
I was going to go into that word kind. So it's the book of 1 Kings chapter 4 and verse 22. And it reads, and Solomon's provisions for one day was,
so his food, his meal that he's going to have for the day,
was 30 measures of fine flour and 60 measures of meal, 10 fat oxen.
Right, 10 fat oxen, right? So you can have oxen, right? Which is a cattle, cows.
And 20 oxen out of the pastures, and 100 sheep besides hearts.
100 sheep, right? And then hearts, right? Your deer going.
And roebucks, and fallow deer.
Right, with these deer. So you can have deer, man, right? And venison, right? It's a bit more dear, right? In price. It's expensive. Right?
And fatted fowl.
And fatted what?
Fowl.
And fatted fowl. So you had fatted fowl as well, right? Meaning fowls, birds that actually, right, were fed well. So you may go to certain shops and it say like it's a corn fed, or you know it's this fed, and it's fed well. It's a fatted fowl. So you got certain fowls you can eat. You can look up the kind thing first. Another point.
So even where it says the word kind, right? The meaning of that, right? It says on the blue letter, it says the Strong's H4327. It says kind, sometimes a species, usually of animals. It says groups of living organisms belong in the same created kind if they have descended from the same ancestral gene pool, right? So it says this does not preclude new species because this represents a partitioning of the original gene pool. Information lost information is lost or conserved, not gained. A new species could arise. A new population is isolated, and inbreeding occurs. By this definition, a new species is not a new kind, but a further partitioning of an existing kind. So, like we have certain animals, you see that are the like I believe it's wolves with dogs, where dogs come from, and then from that so-called inbreeding or domestication of that animal, you now get all these other different dogs. On the ark, they didn't have the Jack Russells, the sausage dogs, right? The Rottweilers, the XL bullies that are banned. Yeah, they didn't have that on the ark, right? It's the original, right? It was the original that was there, right? That's just for edification's sake. They didn't have the ark was there, right? This is science. This is science. Like we're going. This is science. So people say the Bible doesn't teach science. This is science.
The wisdom of the Jews.
Right. It's showing you that there wasn't just like 5 billion animals all stuffed in there. They all kind of got to squeeze up like it's the damn Victoria line, and they're holding on and that, and they're moving. Nah, right? It's the kind showing you that as you get further and further away from the kind, you get different types, right? Go into that partitioning of the existing kind, right? But you got it.
It wasn't like when you go to them shops and you see all the dogs there, and you go all the different species or the cats and stuff like that. 5,000 types of cats, and oh man, I believe you can get it real quick as well. Genesis 7 and verse 1.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying about the kind.
Genesis 2.
Genesis 7.
Salakia.
And verse. Start verse 1.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 7 and verse number 1. And it reads, "And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thine house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation."
Let's get chapter 6 and then start verse 19.
This is Genesis 6 and verse 19. And it says, and of every living thing of all flesh, 2 of every sort shalt thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. Of fowls after their kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, 2 of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive.
Right, so you had those specific species that were set up, and then you had like a representative of each of the species put in the ark. But people confounded like there was every single insect in there or something like. No, man. It's each of the kind, right? Each of the species. You got a point?
Okay, So look, for example, here it talks about the domestication of sheep, right? And we're not fools to believe Esau and his numbers that they just wing, right? He's saying about 11,000. There's no proof for that, right? But again, it says here wild ancestors, right? So it says the exact line of descendant between domestic sheep and their wild ancestors is unclear. Well, we got the scriptures to understand that, right? The most common hypothesis states that Ovius Aries is descended from Asiatic species of Molophan, right? Then it says a few breeds of sheep, such as the Castor Morit from Scotland, were formed through crossbreeding with wild European Molophan. So when you look at, I'm going to see if I can get an image of sheep, right? Because there's sheep that have horns, but now obviously, look, you can see there's certain sheep that don't have horns, certain sheep that do have horns. They look different, but they're the same family. But because they've been domesticated, they're not growing these horns as you would, right? Showing you that point of every kind, you can see how they've been domesticated. Again, science, right? Just like humans, for example, with shoes, right? You see certain people in certain countries, when they don't wear shoes, their toes tend to spread out more. But us, we wear shoes, so we've domesticated our feet, and they now they're like this. You know what I'm saying? Or if you use your iPhone too much, some people put their little finger here and it kind of moves it out of place. You domesticate in your body. So now when you grow, that's going to grow like that. You see what I'm saying? So that's what it is. When it's saying about the kind, right? You'll see that every animal has a ancestor, the ancient ancestor that it comes from, right? We can't.
Right. Nice. Let's look up Galliform. So GALLIFORMES. So yeah, man. Chiefly the male sheep will have the horns, but this is the kind that your chicken will come from, and these are made spoken about. They're not in the ones that are deemed as unclean or an abomination. You can read it from the top.
Okay, come. This is Galliforms. Galliforms is an order of heavy-bodied ground-feeding birds that include turkeys, chickens, quail, and other landfowl.
So they're turkeys, chickens, and quail. So all of these, they're similar animals. Turkey and chicken, they're very similar in nature and looks, right? These are of the same kind. So of this particular kind, these are the kind that you can have. So you can have turkey and chicken. It's not specified in the kinds that are would have obviously been clear to be specified that you can't eat. Right? Can read on the next bit as well.
Here.
Read it on actually.
It says gallinaceous birds, as they are called, are important in their systems as seed dispersers and predators, and are often reared by humans for their meat and eggs, or hunted as game birds.
Right. So these are the birds you can eat. Right. You can have chicken, turkey, right, and these type of what we call landfowl. Right. And they're landfowl. If you look at the nature of a bird, like I was saying, you've got to be able to obtain these things. You're going to be able to get a sheep because you live with it, right? Or you live around it, right? You know how you going to get a So in Leviticus 11 verse 13, the first animal that's mentioned is the eagle. How are you going to catch an eagle? Right? But you're going to catch these landfowl. People say, oh, well, chicken, why are they on the floor? Why are they walking around? You know, they should be flying if they're really birds. That's why we can't eat them. No, they're landfowl, not right. Different fowl have different offices, man. They're seed dispersers. So they're meant to be on the ground. That's their office, man. Everyone's got their office that they're set up for. And that's the office of these birds, to be on the ground, to be there. Let's go Exodus 19 verse 4, right, about the eagle and how the scripture speaks about the eagle and how you can actually get science from the scriptures itself.
It's the book of Exodus chapter 19 and verse 4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself.
Right. So when we came out of Egypt, the Most High bore us on eagle's wings. Right. Eagles have large wings, right, where it's actually safety for its children to be in. Right. And I believe the eagle's wingspan is larger than this table right here, man. So you can't just go out and just catch an eagle, right? Like you can catch, because you can catch a chicken, right? You can grab it, you know. So you just you get its neck and you do what you need to do, right? But you can't do that to an eagle. You just catch an eagle, and then try to fight it to the ground. I've seen an eagle pick up a goat. You've seen that?
I believe so, yeah.
It picked up a goat, man, and just dashed it down to the floor in order to kill it, right? So you can't play with these eagles, man. Right? You can come and just get its tenors and just slap it in your eyes, coming from nowhere, flying at 200 miles an hour. You know, you're gonna see it there, blink, bro, in your eyes, man. All right, so it's faster than some Bugatti just running you down. Right, so you can't mess around with these eagles. So the Most High, He bore us on eagle's wings when we came out of Egypt. This is used positively in this sense, and that the good attribute for an eagle is that it's got these large wings which you can use protectively. Let's go to Deuteronomy 32, verse 11.
The book of Deuteronomy, the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 11. And it says, bless Lord his substance and it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 11. And it reads, as an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings.
Right, that's what the Most High did to us in order for us to be safe coming out of Egypt, right? Because you can't just go up to an eagle and just take its children. Right? You try to do that. Right? You try to go up to an eagle and try to take his eggs, man, and see what happens. That's how the Most High is likened unto his protection for us. Just the same way you can't just go tell an eagle, move. You can do that to a chicken. Right? You can go to a chicken and just grab them eggs. The chicken is just going to just deal with it. You can't do that to an eagle. Right? Eagle don't play around with its children. It looks after its children and will kill you for it. Right? So you have certain animals that got offices. So you can actually have, obviously you can have chicken eggs because it's coming from a clean animal. You can have those eggs, but you can't have eagle. You can't have eagle eggs. And from the eagle kind, you got like falcons and these type of animals as well. These are animals who cannot be eaten. Right? Let's also get Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 16. So, for those who just wanted to hear about Esau, I've got one for you. And we'll help you out.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49 and 16. And it reads, thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock.
Right, so this is Esau, right? So wanted to hear about Esau, this is your time, this opportunity, right? It says thy terribleness has deceived thee, right? Because they live up high, man. They live in the clefts of the rock. They live in the places that are up high. Go on.
That holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as an eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord.
Right, so they make their nest on high, right, like an eagle, because the eagle's nature, it likes to be on top of everyone else. That's how they fly. They fly higher than everyone else. They're untouchable. So that's how Esau likes to present himself, as untouchable. No one can do anything to me. Let's get Revelation 17, verse 1. No one can touch me. No one can find me. No one can take me down from here. Because how can you take an eagle down from the sky? How are you going to get up there? You're not going to be able to get up there. So that's how Esau likens himself into. No one's going to get me down. I'm all the way up here. What are you going to do? Let's get that.
So book of Revelation, chapter 17 and verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Right, the great whore that sits upon many waters, which are all the other nations. So this Babylon the Great is that great whore which is sitting above all these other nations. So it is that eagle that likes to sit up on high, and nobody can touch me, nobody can get near to me. Right? I'm all the way up here, you guys are down there. That's why it's called pride. I'm up here, you're down there. So that's why the Lord uses the eagle to show forth what pride looks like in the sense of these animals, using these animals and examples of the attributes that they have. So just like you can't go and get an eagle, how the hell are you going to be able to eat it? You can't eat anything that dies of itself. So anyway, if you really get an eagle is if it drops down and you find it dead somewhere. How are you gonna if it dies mid-flight or something? Because it lives all the way up there. How are you gonna get an eagle? So the Most High created things that live in habitats and places that aren't even for you to even go to. That's already showing you're not meant to eat that, right? So if you're up in a mountain and you see some eggs there, right? Don't risk that, right? Saying, "Oh, finally I found some eggs," but you're up in some mountain minus 30 degrees. You say, yeah, finally. Right? That could be some eagle eggs up there, man. You just, now you're frying it up, man. So you have to have discernment, understanding the habitats of these animals, understanding the physical nature and attributes of these animals that come with these things. Let's get Job chapter 9, verse 26 as well. All right, so it's okay to know some science, man. All right, it's not gonna kill you, man.
So book of Job chapter 9 and verse 26, and it reads, they are passed away as the swift ships, as the eagle that hasteth to the prey.
Right. Just like you have in Deuteronomy 28, and it says as swift in verse 49, where it says as swift as the eagle flieth. Because another attribute of these eagles is that they're very fast, right? They're very speedy in order to get to their prey, because in order to get from where they're up high, in order to get to their prey, you have to be very quick, because if not, then the animals will see you coming from far away and then they'll just get away from you. So the Most High made it in the balance where their attributes is that they can get to their prey very quickly from very high distances. And that's the same thing that Esau has. He has these, look how quick Biden's reaction was. Right? That's an eagle, because he's seeing these things from up high, watching these things happen, and he's got them ships that are in the middle of the sea with these with the planes on them. And as soon as something happens, boom, they just fly off that ship. Yeah. As swift as the eagle flieth, hasteth to the prey. Anyone does anything, there's these the aircraft carriers that are out in the midst of the seas, just ready to get anyone anywhere, right? So you can't run away from this eagle, right? You have to abide under the eagle's wings of the Most High if you want to be protected from Esau. Right? Otherwise, you will be caught. Right?
As well. On that point of science as well. Let's go to Daniel as well. Daniel 1, verse 4. Because, but people say, even one more thing as well, actually, on that point. People will say about, the Big Bang as well, that folly, right? The Big Bang theory. It's going to probably give me the show, right?
You felt my mind.
Right, let me see, because the Big Bang, right, when you actually look at who created the idea, is a damn Jesuit, right? The father of the Big Bang, right? So the guy's name is Georges Lemaître, right? Was a Catholic priest. So why is a Catholic priest, he's supposed to be reading the Bible, he's saying, okay, the Big Bang. So you see this is Esau's science on the left-hand side, right? Where they try and say, okay, cool, we believe in the Bible, but you know what's above the Bible? My understanding, right? My science, and that's how they deceive the nations, because everyone's saying, oh yeah, Esau can do it, right? We go to Esau for the understanding, right? You got to go to the scriptures, right? So read that Bible, Cashapp.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 4. It says, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
Right. So the Israelites, right, we had understanding, right? And that word science, right, when you go into the blue letter, it's just talking about knowledge, right? The Bible is packed full with all the knowledge you need, right? So the Israelites, they had that understanding, right? That's how Daniel built a bomb. Daniel built a bomb because he had that knowledge, right? It's not Oppenheimer, and he's not, okay, let me build this massive weapon. But that's what you see as well. I think where it says either Isaiah 14 or in Ezekiel 28, where it talks about how Esau now let's get that as well. Ezekiel 28, for sure. Right. where it says now, Esau, he's superseded, because when you go back into like medicines and all these things, that holistic approach that Israelites had, that's how we was dealing with things. We weren't going, okay, cool, let's make a new jab or whatever. We weren't doing that, right? So let's read verse 3.
Ezekiel 28 verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee.
Right, go on.
With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures.
Right, so this is talking about Esau for the spirit, right? This is literally talking about Esau, because he's saying they're wiser than Daniel. Because what do they do now? They made the atom bomb, right? They said they went to space, right? They said all these things to confuse us and tell us, look, we got it, right? That's why it says they put themselves in the seat of God, but they're a man, right? So we have this. The Israelites, we had this knowledge. We had the understanding of the world, the circumference, all these kind of things that people today they're struggling. How did they do that? Right? Here's an example, right? Can't you got it?
All right. So that's with their wisdom, right? They were able to obtain these things. But there's this righteousness of wisdom that we must have. That's what we're meant to do. We're meant to be simple. We're meant to be wise in the scriptures, wise in righteousness. Wise not to do evil, but righteousness. So, for teachers, it's expedient to make sure let's go to Acts 13, verse 1. Right? To actually to really be out there, and be an example, you also got to be established as a teacher.
So look at Acts chapter 13 and verse 1. Now there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simeon that was called Niger, and Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which had been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch and Saul.
Right. So all of these people were together. Saul, before he was actually an apostle, he was a teacher, man. Right? With Barnabas. Right? Obviously he was a Pharisee before. He was on a relatively high level, not at the highest, but he was thereabouts. He had to be reborn again, or reborn, or born again. I can't say both. Right? And then this is him as a teacher. Let's read on.
Verse 2. As they ministered to the Lord and fasted, the Holy Ghost said, separate me Barnabas and Saul for the work whereunto I have called them.
Right. So then when they actually had a good establishment teaching, then they were actually able to be set forth to go forth and do the work as an apostle. Right. So being a teacher and being an apostle is two different things. So you want to be established as a teacher first and foremost, that you can actually know and teach these things. And being a teacher, you have to kind of get onto so you have to understand the basics to be a teacher. To be an apostle, right, you're applying all the knowledge that you have outwardly and making sure that the things that you're experiencing is all filtered through the knowledge that you've actually got, right? Because you're going forth and teaching different people, and not just that, applying those teachings as well, not just staying in that basic understanding. Let's get another verse, Proverbs 23 and verse 5, going back to the point of before. So yeah, man, there's some mighty points, having that wisdom, right, of Daniel. Like Joseph had wisdom, he had economic wisdom. Daniel had scientific wisdom. It's good to have these types of wisdom. Go on.
So book of Proverbs 25 and verse 23 and verse 5, so like here. And it reads, will thou set thine eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings, they fly away as an eagle toward heaven.
Right, so riches, so obviously Proverbs is obviously twofold, man. So riches will make themselves wings, they fly away. So you can't put your faith and trust upon your riches, the things that your job, people they let the things of this world put them on high, man. Right? Just like an eagle is up there, and your riches can just fly away at any time. So put your trust in the Most High. It says they fly away as an eagle toward heaven, because you have certain things that fly away toward heaven that can actually be referred to as an eagle. So when it says they fly away as an eagle toward heaven, on a basic literal level, an eagle flying towards the sky, because the heaven will be a sky. So that's how high an eagle flies. It flies towards the sky. That's how high it flies. But you also have something on another level, on a deeper fold, that is speaking about as well. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 13.
So book of Jeremiah chapter 4 and verse number 13. And it reads, "Behold, he shall come up as clouds." So that can't. Jeremiah 4 and verse 13. "Behold, he shall come up as clouds, and his chariot shall be as a whirlwind."
Right, it says he shall come up as clouds, and his chariots shall be as a whirlwind. Right? So remember Yahushua, he said he's gonna come with the clouds. Right? As we was going into I believe it was like maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, right? Yahushua said he's gonna come with the clouds of heaven. Right? What do you mean he's gonna come with the clouds of heaven? Right? He's saying he's literally gonna take all of the clouds, it's gonna be windy, it's gonna be a big storm. It's not Zeus, man. Right? He's gonna come with these clouds, and he's talking about these chariots. They're gonna be as a whirlwind. Let's read on.
"His horses are swifter than eagles."
Right, his horses are swifter than eagles. So eagles, right, they go, I believe, at least 150 miles per hour, right? When it on a dip, when it's flying downwards, there's got gravity on the side, right? Shout out to Sir Isaac Newton. Joking, but his horses are swifter than eagles, right? So the chariots of the Most High are swifter than eagles. And it's likened them unto horses and chariots. Horses are used for war, right? These chariots are used for war. So these things that the Most High is going to come back with, while Shema Mashakel Shai, is going to be chariots. It's referred to as chariots, even horses, which chariots are attached with, and they're swifter than eagles. So it's even likened unto these eagles. As eagles, they fly towards the heaven in Proverbs 23, verse 5. And the eagles of the Most High, right, which is going to be these chariots, they fly towards the heaven, right? These chariots descend and ascend from the heavens above, right? So you have these animals are used for a reason, right? Horses, eagles, when we understand the nature of these animals, being in tune with the nature and not being people that are not in tune with that, then we understand the scriptures much more, and it brings much more life to these the words that the Most High is letting us know, because he speaks in similitudes. Let's get Hosea 12 and 10. He speaks in similitudes, and he speaks double to that, which is, like it says also in Job 11 verse 6. But we'll just read Hosea 12 and 10, and then we kind of close up after having the other points.
It's the book of Hosea, chapter 12, and verse number 10, and it reads, "I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions, and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets."
Right. So it's important for us to know the dietary law, the animals, and the science behind these things, because they're for us to eat. These are the laws that we're meant to be keeping, and we should be keeping, we must keep, and we have to know these things and not be ignorant of anything. So it's good to know the science behind these things. This is just, we could go more into it too. So and we also understand that also by knowing these, when you understand the science behind it, then you can understand when the Most High refers to these animals and uses them in similitudes, or uses them to describe other things or describe other people, like we said about casting pearls before swine, unless you understood the nature of swine, you wouldn't understand that. So likewise, of all of these animals, it's important to know the nature of them, the science behind them, and all of the things that the Most High is saying, so you can actually understand it. God, he's using similitudes for the prophets because this is in order for him to reveal the depths of understanding. So it's important for us to know these sciences, otherwise people would just be, it wouldn't make any sense. So it's good to us to know the things that are happening around us. Like we're saying, it's good to watch, right? Let's go Revelation 3 verse 2.
So book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 2. And it reads, remember, so like be watchful and strengthen the things which remain that are ready to die. For I have not found thy works perfect before Yahweh.
Right, so maybe the understanding of the law might not have been perfect. So you need to strengthen that. And, there's always something for us to strengthen. So that means we have to be watching the things that are around us so that we can strive for that perfection that the Most High is set out for us to get to.
Yeah, can't hold on this one. And let's go as well to 1 Kings 4. Because, Solomon also had wisdom, right? So there's countless accounts of our people, our forefathers, having wisdom and understanding and knowledge, right? Because all wisdom is of the Lord, right? We'll start from verse 29.
1 Kings chapter 4 verse 29. And God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding, exceeding much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore. And Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country and all the wisdom of Egypt.
Right. So Solomon wasn't an idiot, right? He wasn't dumb. He wasn't 7 in maths, right? He had wisdom, right? And people that say, the Egyptians, right? They built the pyramids and they did all this kind of stuff. Right? But Solomon's wisdom exceeded them, right? Go on.
For he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ezrahite, and Heman, and Calcol, and Dada, the sons of Mahol, and his fame was in all nations round about.
Right, so they knew about Solomon. That's why Queen Sheba, right, so-called, she kind of came out, I want to see that. Right, no, they didn't lay together, right? Just came, okay, what do you have? What wisdom does he have? Right, go on. And
he spake 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005.
Right, his songs as well, and that land on that point as well. People try to say, okay, songs of Solomon, it wasn't him, right? It's the Shulamite woman that's saying it. It says his, right? Unless there's some funny business going on there, but can't.
There's more on that.
Okay, can't. Let's read on that.
It says, and he spake of trees, from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon,
right,
even unto the hyssop that springeth out of the wall. He spake also of beasts, and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fishes.
So Solomon were telling the people, okay, for sacrifices, I bring 20,000 pieces of pork, right? Put them there, line them up, and I'll bring the sharks, put them there as well. They weren't doing that, right? Reading as well, we might finish it as well.
And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon from all kings of the earth, which had heard of his wisdom.
Right. So, we having this knowledge that we have now with this truth, right? With the dietary law, we got to be able to be a light to our people to tell them, look, this is what we can and can't eat. Right? That's wisdom, right? So, because our people are kings as well and princesses as well, so we got to show them, look, for you to really be on that level, you got to hear this wisdom, right? Which is, of the beasts that we can and can't eat as well, right? Can't.
And even on that, now that our mind is renewed, you can actually show forth wisdom, and and it may not have been things that you thought you would have been able to speak about before. You can speak about these animals, and it says Solomon, he had all his wisdom, and he didn't say, and he spoke about should men go 50-50 on dates or not. No, he says his wisdom was that he spake of beasts, fowl and creep. He spoke of animals, meaning he knew biology, he knew physics, he knew these things, and he spake on these things.
Right.
That was his wisdom, or part of his wisdom that he showed forth. So it's important that we have this wisdom. Solomon had this type of wisdom and was righteous for that in that sense when he was doing that. So that's a mighty thing to do. Go forth into the wisdom of the beasts and the creeping things, man. Don't just neglect these things, being ignorant.
And as well, paraphrasing the verse, I believe it says that it's better for a man to hide his folly than to hide his wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
So at no point, you got the truth, you know what's going on, and you're just, well, I'm keeping this breakdown to myself, and you're kind of hiding in your room. Right? Go out and teach the people. Hey, look, this is what we got to do. Teach them the wisdom, give them the knowledge to understand. Right? I don't want to be. Are you gonna? We don't want to. And Jake will show. Okay, look, I'm doing this and the canisters and whatever. But he will show that, but he won't show the wisdom that he actually has, the potential that he has. You know what I'm saying? So it's better to hide your folly than to hide your wisdom, right? But actually, you don't want to be indulging in the folly, kind of.
You can wrap up on that. Get to Exodus chapter 20.
So, book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
So what's happening? We can be edified, and be wise in science like Daniel was, in righteousness though, and take these things and build on these foundations. With that, we're gonna close up. Remember also, prayer coming up. That will be we'll be keeping that all throughout. We'll be gathering together on the 23rd of February. I will send out the information for that. If you don't have that, let us know. I will get that to you. Most I when you can come out and keep that feast day. Bearing in mind also Passover coming up. Right? Be mentally, spiritually prepared for that, and physically too. Right? Get what you need. Right? Bearing in mind we've got to get the leaven out of our houses. It's not the time to be, getting, a big box of yeast right now. Also, new moon next week. Right? So watch all things. Remember to keep the commandments and to have faith in Yahweh Shai, build on this wisdom and understanding. So we're going to close up in prayer, and then we're going to finish for the day. Call halal Yahweh, by Hashem, Mashak Yahweh Shai. Lord, we come unto your throne of mercy and grace. We beseech you of forgiveness. We pray that you can cleanse us from all of our sins, all of our ignorance, all of the things that we have not pleased you in, but I pray you can have mercy upon us, that you can, through Yahushua, who we thank you that we can have as a leader and a king, the malak of all of us, that we can be cleansed, that we can be led into the way of righteousness. We thank you that you can clean us with the word that he's given unto us, that we can know now that in order for us to receive mercy, we must have faith, and that we must walk accordingly to the words that have been spoken unto us, that we should have mercy towards one another. So Lord, I pray in the things that us as your Israelites that you have chosen, that I pray that we can be more merciful unto one another, be more forgiving unto one another, as we can then hope to have forgiveness from you. Lord, we pray that we can give us understanding of your scriptures, as Solomon had wisdom to know all things that are in the earth, the things that can provide us with the ability to be teachers unto others, that they can be edified, as we should have the wisdom, Lord, that is expedient for us that have salvation, that we can also bring forth the people that are in the Greek mindset, that we can bring them forth and show them that the wisdom that is of the world is futile, it will come to nothing, and the wisdom that you have and you have laid up that is righteous and it can overpower and overwhelm all the type of things that can come up against you. Lord, we pray for our families and our household, that you can protect us. All of the people that are going through trials and tribulations for your name, I pray that they can all remain steadfast in the faith, that their faith cannot be hindered, that you can give them more faith than they had before, that these situations that you put them through, that it does not take them out, that it does not leave them lonely, that it does not leave them thinking that there is no Most High, you are not with them. Lord, I pray you are with all of us that are being tried right now. And I pray that you can give us faith that can lead us unto salvation. By Hashem Mashiach Yahushua. Amen.
Amen.
So yeah, we're gonna close up. Shalom to everyone on the YouTube. Shalom to everyone in the Zoom. Most High will have a good rest of the Sabbath.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.